Welcome to the world's fastest quarter mile, Slinger Super Speedway. We are in Wisconsin, about 35 miles north and west of Milwaukee. At the quarter mile racetrack, that Slinger Super Speedway has produced several NASCAR champions and Hall of Famers. As drivers here, Alan Kowicki and Matt Kenseth come to mind as drivers that proved themselves here over the course of their racing careers. This track's been around since the late 1940s, and it's glad to have you with us here as it's an inaugural visit for the ASA Stars National Tour standalone event on a Sunday night. This is going to be a big deal. It's a regular Sunday night show, if you will, but a special one. The first time in 40 years, Adam Mackey, we're going 300 laps around Slinger Super Speedway. I'm Jim Trado. Adam Mackey and Charlie Crowell will join us. We're about to go qualifying to set the field for tonight's Al Bandito Yankee Tequila 300 presented by Appalachian Sucker Punch.
My first trip, Jim. My first trip to this racetrack, Slinger Super Speedway, and a track that I've heard so much about. The excitement that happens here on a Sunday evening throughout the summer, and especially on Father's Day, where it's a tradition to run a big Father's Day event for super late models, and it's good to have the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour a part of it. They're going to race in front of a good crowd tonight, and I think we're going to see a whale of a show.
Much like Friday evening, if you joined us for our coverage on Track TV or had the live look and opportunity to watch the Madison International Speedway racing, there's a lot of Midwest Tour interest here as well. They've raced here several times, and we'll get to more on that. But right now we're going to introduce our Simpson Race Products pit reporter, Charlie Crowell.
Yeah, hi, Jim. Good afternoon to you guys up in the booth. A little bit of drama back here in the pit area as we get set to roll the first car. Stephen Nassie's number 51. They were doing their pre-qualifying air pressure checks. They came to the right rear. That tire was not up to where it was, so they took it off, poured the water around the bead, found a little pinhole leak. So Freddie Query, ASA Stars National Tour Tech Director, said, hey, you can take this back, put it on a new rim and bolt it back on, and that's exactly what they're doing. Stephen Nassie should be good to go for qualifying, guys.
Thank you, Charlie. Adam, what do you think? Kyle Steckley's first time to Slinger is your first time to Slinger. He's going to put down 2 consecutive laps of qualifying, and he got in a little bit of wetness on the apron in turn 4. It's a little bit of a puddle down there. He got right in the middle of it, and it found his car sideways.
And Kyle Steckley in practice today in his APC Auto Parts Center's entry was a little off, and he's sliding it sideways off the corners. And his qualifying run for Kyle Steckley, 11.589. We're expecting to see the low 11s, though it is as warm now, if not warmer, than any part of the day we've seen today because the sun is out earlier for much of practice. Cloud cover here in Slinger.
Ty Frederiksen raced here one time as a Midwest Tour Miracle on the High Banks back in 2024. In April of last year, finished 21st in one of his first super late model starts. Now here comes the Kowicki Cup champion, racing again with the stars of the ASA Stars National Tour. Out of Webster, Minnesota, car number 36 in the MFR, Herman's Landscape and Supply, Sorem's Livestock Hauling Toyota.
Checkered flag waving already. These laps fly by at Slinger Super Speedway, and Ty Frederiksen, 11.436, the time for the 16-year-old driver from Minnesota.
And I hate to say it, but those times may be outside the top 10 in speeds. The track record in two-barrel super late model racing held weekly here was held earlier this spring. A 30-year-old track record was broken. This track's got a lot of grip in it. That track record is just shy, under 11 seconds. Here's Gavin Boschel in his first trip in the JBL Toyota for Donnie Wilson Motorsports to Slinger Super Speedway.
Winning the season opener in the Clyde Hart Memorial at New Smyrna Speedway. It's been an up and down season since that February event for the 17-year-old as he comes to the checkered flag already quickest on lap 1. Even better on lap 2. Going to be a decent lap at 11.232 for Gavin Boschel.
Practicing in the 11.0 range. This driver, Austin Nason, no stranger to Slinger Super Speedway. A local driver, I would call him that, because he's raced here a bunch. He's raced here and finished top 5 in 3 consecutive Slinger National 200-lap races here. It's a special they've held here for 45 years and counting here in a midweek show in July. They're doing it again this year. Nason, no doubt, will be in the field for that one. White flag for Austin Nason in the car corner. Number 14, Nason's Landscaping, also helping him out in the Loves Park Motorsports on his Ford. Off of turn 4, he's got a bit of a wide run here.
Slides it sideways, second quick, 11.234, miss it by 2/1000ths.
Let's go to Charlie Crowell.
Standing by with Kyle Steckley. Kyle, how was your race car and how's this racetrack?
Yeah, it's a ton of fun. We had a really good car in practice, and I just did a poor job in qualifying there. I think there's some water on the bottom of the track in 3 and 4, and I hit it both laps, so that's on me. I need to do a better job, but we'll come from the back, I'm sure, in this APC Auto Parts Center's number 30, and hopefully be there at the end of 300 laps.
Gabe Summers on the track to qualify, and the number 15 car was fast at times at Madison on Friday. Ended up with a DNF, and Gabe Summers is atop the board right now on the pole. 11-168 in CorvetteParts.net pole qualifying. Gabe Summers quick.
Stop what you're doing. Put down the tools. It's Ty Majeski at Slinger in qualifying. This is a special treat. He is fast. The three-time Slinger Nationals champion out of Neenah, Wisconsin. The Incredible Bank, iRacing, SodaSense, Ford. Crew chief by Toby Noodleman. One of the fastest cars in practice, without a doubt, one of the favorites here tonight.
First lap for Majeski to the top of the board. He does it by 2/100ths, 11-148. Can he do better on lap 2? I say yes.
10.994 is the all-time track record.
Majeski's second time just missed it, 11-0. 4-1 Majeski on top of the board.
He was not the fastest car in practice. We're going to tease you with that. 2 practice sessions this afternoon. The driver that pulled out of the first practice session and put it right at the top of the board is our point leader, Cole Butcher. The Atlantic tilt load, number 28, out of Nova Scotia, Canada. 9D creative on the hood of his Toyota.
Well, Butcher struggled for a while in that first session, but he got acclimated to the track, was 5th overall in today's practice, first time across the line, 3rd quick out of the first 7 qualifiers for Butcher.
On lap 1, decent run. Let's see what he does on lap 2 here. Through the grip spray, off the corner, all the way to the wall in the front stretch, and he'll say 3rd, 11-172, 11-172 to Majeski's 11-041. The difference, 1st to 3rd.
Majeski, Summers, Butcher, top 3. It's Bushell and Nason rounding out the top 5, and here is Steven Nass. He ended up with a 4th place finish at Madison after struggling early in that night. Recovered for a top 5, a good points night for Nassi. In practice today, he looks pretty stout. 3 top 10 finishes here in the Slinger Nationals. He has experience this quarter mile. Across the line, Nassi first time by, 7th quick, 11-443.
Let's see what he does here. Well, Bam is a local sponsor that's on his car all season long. Off a turn 4 in the Anthony Campy Racing prepared 51. Up to 4th, 11-197. 11-197. Nassi completes his lap. Let's go back to Charlie.
Yeah, Jim, standing by with Gabe Summers. Gabe, you're a veteran of the Wisconsin short track scene. How does a driver hold their breath here for 300 laps?
Yeah, it's going to be really tough. 100 lap feature here is a lot, so 300 is definitely going to be a ton. You just got to keep the car underneath you and keep the fenders on it. This place, stuff happens quick here, so you got to be there at the end.
Advice taken, advice known by Gabe Summers. Finished here 8th in an ASA Midwest Tour race. Did not make the only 2 Slinger Nationals he attempted to run. 2021 Slinger Nationals champion and Slinger track champion. Luke Fenhouse now on track. He was faster than Majeski in practice. How did he do in qualifying? 11.149, 11.149 for Luke Fenhouse. He is now 2nd quick to Ty Majeski.
Our winner from 2 nights ago, Carson Brown, broke into the win column for the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour. He looked pretty stout in practice today, did young Carson Brown, the 16-year-old on track, fresh from racing at Fairbury on the dirt last night. The win on Friday night at Madison. Here's Brown coming to the white flag.
First lap, 11.277. Good lap, but it's 8th fastest. And we're talking about milliseconds now, separating the top 10.
On the throttle early, middle of the corner, checks up just slightly, and cost him a little bit of time, but he is a little faster on lap 2. These times are tight. 11.241, 8th quick out of our first 10 qualifiers.
And that was with a burp off of turn 4 because that wall came up in a hurry on him as he exited the 4th corner.
Gabrielle Grigsby next to qualify, a rookie on the circuit, making her 3rd start of the year. Curtis, Ohio driver at 20 years of age, the shortest track of the series that she's competed at now, and a little closer to the size of track she was used to competing in the factory stock.
Flat Rock. Toledo's a big half mile, but Flat Rock, this is a little bit more banking than she's used to there. But Toledo Speedway getting some experience there in a factory stock. This is a whole different ball game here with 11-second laps. Oh, hang on, Gabby. Hang on, Gabby. And around she goes.
Grigsby loops it coming off of turn 4, was watching her in practice get better as she came out each time, was putting it against the edge there on the exit of 4 that time for her first qualifying lap. We have qualified. She is our 11th driver to go out of the near 20 qualifiers, 19 scheduled for CorvetteParts.net pole qualifying here this afternoon. Their race tonight coming up at 7 p.m. on Track TV. Let's send it back to Charlie.
Thanks a lot, Adam. Standing by with Luke Fenhouse. Looked pretty good qualifying lap. What's your car going to be like for tonight?
It should be good. Just made a horrible lap in qualifying. I don't know. Just did a bad job on my end. And we'll regroup and have a good race car tonight.
Just a whole tenth of a second between first and second. Majeski, the Bar, and Fenhouse, the Challenger, if you want to call it that. They've raced here for wins with regularity in big events. Next up, George Phillips, his first run here at Slinger. The 16-year-old out of Charlotte, North Carolina. Car number 22 for Dottie Wilson Motorsports. The Ross and Whitmer Incorporated Simpson Citrus Safe Toyota.
Phillips, 9th quick on lap 1, was pretty good in practice today, and across the line lap number 2, he will stay in the number 9 position. 11.251, looking to get that bad luck behind him. He has had a tough start to the season, a lot of it not of his own doing.
Next up, Derek Thorne. We're going to have our onboard camera with Derek all race long. It's going to be great to see the views out of this California racer. The Appalachian Sucker Punch, Concord Wealth Partners, Specialty Manufacturing Chevrolet. Derek Thorne has raced here before. This is a race he circled on his calendar. Derek Thorne has raced and finished in the top 3 positions in the last 3 attempts at the Slinger Nationals here. A 200-lap race they held with all the stars coming. Majeski and Fenhouse amongst his main combatants when it comes to the wins. And William Byron, as a matter of fact, beat him to a checkered flag here 3 years ago.
10th quick for Derek Thorne as he heads pit side. We will as well, Charlie.
Yeah, guys, standing by with Carson Brown. Carson, that's what short track cars should look like. They should have wheel marks on them. This is obviously the same car you ran the other night. How is it?
Yeah, I think it'll be all right. I think we're definitely better on long runs. It takes a little while for the front end to come in, but once we get a long run, I think we're really good.
Carson Brown's a busy guy, coming off that huge win on Friday night, coming to a high bank quarter-mile racetrack, adapting and adjusting. That's what he does. Derek Ross, I recall seeing him race here in a Bandolero and a Midwest Truck Series truck before the age of 13. That's when he started running super lights around the Midwest. Derek Kraus was the second fastest car in practice.
5th quick in qualifying right now for Kraus, 11.173. Justin Mondyke, no stranger to Slinger Super Speedway in this area, racing the double this weekend for Father's Day weekend. He's on the clock now at the green.
Also came here earlier this season and bagged a victory in a super late model feature competition in a weekly racing here. The 44 Justin Mondyke.
Mondyke off the corner, brings it a little sideways, off of 2 into 3, down along the bottom line. Struggling in practice for speed, but here in qualifying jumps up a few spots, a little bit better. 11th quick for Justin Mondyke. Charlie's with Derek Thorne.
Yeah, guys, Derek Thorne runs a lot of quarter miles out on the West Coast, but I don't think Shasta and Madera have anything you can bring to Slinger, do they?
No, Slinger is a beast of its own for sure. Being here in Wisconsin, these guys are no slouches, and this track itself is just awesome. So it's good to be here in front of the Wisconsin crowd.
He raced an entire summer out of Wisconsin, racing the ASA Late Model Challenge Series at the tender age of 19, I think it was. Moved here for the entire summer out of California before heading back and making all those wins and championships on the West Coast.
Lebanon, Tennessee driver Dawson Sutton on track right now. The champion of Nashville's Fairgrounds Speedway 1 year ago. 11th quick lap 1, lap 2. Sutton stays in the number 11 position. One of the few drivers that did not go quicker on lap number 2. 11th out of our first 16.
That turn 4 wall has come up and seems to be a challenge for some of these racers to stay free from. So easy to try to get that car wound into turn 3 and then right up to the wall. If you get there too soon, it's going to come and it flattens out a little bit right there from the pit ramp entry. Could be a challenge for these teams if they go too wide for too long, especially the newcomers.
Cold Springs,
number
Colorado.
5 is Jonathan Nee. Jonathan Nee in the number 5. Richie Waters. Fort Collins, Colorado racer, raced 7 times last year with the ASA Stars National Tour. The Phoenix Construction number 5 for Waters, a Wisconsin native. Raced here a bunch, but I don't think he ever did take home the trophy of the Slinger Nationals. And the multiple times he's run with some really strong drivers. You know, he's won the Snowball Derby with Stephen Wallace. We know that he's won a lot of big races. Jonathan Nee getting a chance with Richie Waters here in Waters' home state.
Yeah, and Nee ends up 11th quick. I don't think that's too bad out of 17 cars.
No.
Lack of experience here. Putting down a pretty good lap for Waters Motorsports.
Number 14 is Chase Pinsino, his first trip here. Carson Hosevar, development driver. Carson's raced here at the Slinger Nationals. Missed the show, I believe, once or twice of the 3 times he's been here. So here he is, his development driver, Chase Pinsino, under the direction of Zach Dunson in the 131 Motorsports Park Chevrolet, number 14.
Pinsino, first time by, 13th quick. And that's where he will remain after his second lap of qualifying. Canadian driver back to the pits will get her ready for the race as Casey Klein coming off his best run The Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour. He's got a couple of great runs in the Northwest Super Late Model Series where he calls home. And he was a champion a year ago. This year, a struggle with some bad luck over our way. Right now, he's trying to go back-to-back with top 5 finishes across the line. Casey Klein in the 1/16th.
Klein finished 5th on Friday night at Madison International Speedway by running the high line. When I think of grip spray for now, and I think of Casey Klein and what he was able to accomplish on Wisconsin's biggest and fastest half mile.
Nice second lap, 9th quick for Casey Klein into the top 10.
Casey Klein 9th, 11.240, the first driver from the state of Washington since the legendary Garrett Evans tried to make the Slinger Nationals here a few years ago. Charlie?
Yeah, guys, standing by with our pole winner, Ty Majeski. And so this is a really intense little racetrack, Ty. What's it take to get around here as quick as you went?
Yeah, a well-handling car. It's this place is so fast. It's got such high grip. Your car really needs to do everything right. You're carrying so much speed. If you're a little bit free, it's just magnified here as well as the other way. So, yeah, I just have to have a well-balanced car. Typically, I don't have that raw qualifying speed here like we saw today. So, hopefully that still bodes well, and hopefully we still race similar to what we normally do. But feel good about it, and yeah, I'm 0 for 4 in finishing these late model races this year. So, honestly, I'd be happy if we took the checker flag tonight.
Well, let's say we do get to the checkered flag tonight. You're going to be able to put that 91 car up in the outside groove if you need to work your way through traffic tonight?
Honestly, I think that's probably where the preferred groove is going to be. It's, you kind of can see the black sticky stuff laid down. It's going to make that outside groove pretty preferred tonight. So it's going to be extremely difficult to pass for that reason. If you get underneath the guy, he's going to have all that grip in the outside groove. So I think it's going to be a track position race as we saw at Madison. So glad we have that track position. Hopefully we can keep it all night.
All right, guys, Ty Majeski looking to get his luck turned around after a rough start to his late model season here in 2025.
I like the way Ty is telling everybody the outside's the way to get around here. Ty is good everywhere, but he's really good when he gets out in clean air. He clicks off laps here, and he can put together speed from the backstretch to the middle of turn 4 like nobody's business. His corner entry and maintaining speeds here in the corners is unmatched when everything's clicking. For our CorvetteParts.net pole winner here at Slinger Super Speedway, our 2023 ASA Stars National Tour champion, Ty Majeski. A lot of fans in the stands have come to see Ty race. He's won 3 Slinger Nationals. I have been here for every one of the ones he's raced here. 11 times already he's run here. And Ty, I got to tell you, he's pretty good here. His wins came in 2018, 2020, 23. Between those wins, he should have had 3 more. He's that good when it comes to Slinger Speedway and long-distance races.
I was watching him in practice today, and just so smooth. His corner entry kind of brings it across the bottom from kind of like arches it in and just smooth.
And
Never
would you
a
believe,
bobble.
in 2014, I'm looking up notes on Slinger Nationals. I know I'm babbling on about that. It's a big race. It has brought national stars. It has brought NASCAR stars here. We have NASCAR stars here today, including Majeski and Fenhouse and Sutton and Krause. Thinking about that, 2014, Ty was one of 8 drivers that did not qualify. Did not qualify for the Slinger Nationals. One of 8 drivers that went home. Stephen Assie's been here. Chase Elliott's been here. We also saw Chandler Smith ran 4 laps here, and Kyle Busch's super late went home. Last year, Ryan Preece was here. Lap 6. Things changed for a lot of cars because he got into the front stretch wall, that unfamiliarity in racing. That's one more component we have. When we go 2 wide racing here at Slinger Super Speedway, it's a whole different ball game. Qualifying has concluded here at Slinger Super Speedway. We have something special to share with you right now on our programming here. We encourage you to kind of stay put because there's one individual that has meant a lot to us in Wisconsin spiritually, and his presence is always well earned and well represented, and he's written books that we forever will know is the definition of Wisconsin motorsports over the decades. Here's a sit down and an interview and a chat about Father Dale Grubba, who became Bobby Allison's friend in 1968 and has been friends of racing since then and a valued treasure here in the state of Wisconsin.
Father Dale Grubba never set out to be the guardian of Wisconsin's racing soul. But when your heart beats for both the Lord and late models, your calling has 2 pulpits. One in the church, one by the checkered flag.
When you think of Dick Trickle and Tom Refter, Marv Marzofka, and people like that, yes, they were quite ingenious when it came to developing and building cars, but also they were just a talent unto themselves too. There was a real kind of camaraderie among the top drivers. For instance, when it came to tires, to keep the price down, they would say, they would make a rule among themselves. You can only buy one tire a week. And everybody has to buy their tires on Tuesday so that they would all wear out, and everybody would be racing equally, because nobody was going to go out and bolt 4 new tires on a Wednesday night. You couldn't, but that was their own rule and their own way of making it a success and being able to make some money. Dick knew, without boasting about it, he knew that he was good. And so he wasn't afraid to help other drivers to become good to a certain point. Once he knew you were on the threshold, then you were on your own. And he would always say, I don't want to be fast, just that much faster, than my competitor. He had this ability to just be able to adapt. And, for instance, I don't know how many times I was there that he would get in a wreck and his car would be torn apart, and they would totally rebuild it, from, say, the first heat that he had been in to the feature, and go out and win the feature. But that was just, something that he and other drivers of that era had the ability to do. Al was just a piece of work. When he was at the track, he just concentrated on racing, and you didn't mess around with him. Like one time at Daytona, I didn't bother him. And so then afterwards, I was home for about 2 weeks, and he had kind of a Rolodex mind where, he would think about things, and then 2 weeks later, he might act on it. And he called me and he said, where did you go at Daytona? I even went over to your room to find out where you were. And I said, well, you were just busy and concentrating, and I didn't want to bother you. And that was true. You just didn't want to bother him when he was at the racetrack. But off the racetrack was a different story. Then he could be actually just comical and fun and a delightful person. The thing that made him different from the drivers like Trickle, Ruffner, and those, when he accomplished something, then he moved up. And that was his whole philosophy. He started out in go-karts, then he went to dirt track racing, and then he went to pavement cars, and then on to NASCAR. And that was his philosophy, his way of doing things, and it worked for him. I think, the people that worked for him, he really was a demanding boss or so forth. I lived in the greatest era of racing that you could possibly live in, growing up in Wisconsin. We had the stock car racing era in central Wisconsin came along. But then, on top of that, if you were a race fan, you had USAC. I would argue till I die, USAC stock car racing was as strong, if not stronger, than NASCAR. When you look at the A.J. Foyts, the Andrettis, and the Don Whites and the Ramos Stotts, that was, when you went to a race in Milwaukee, that was a great race. So you had that going on. Then you had IndyCar racing. So you had, at the Milwaukee Fair, you had a stock car race, an IndyCar race, and a stock car race. And then, to top it all off, if you drifted up to Elkhart Lake, you had the McLarens, and you had the greatest era of sports cars that you could possibly have. It was at your doorstep. It was like, get up in the morning and say, well, where do I want to go? What type of racing do I want to see? And know that you are seeing the best racing that there was.
He's baptized more racers than you can count. Buried more than a few, too. And in between Sunday Mass and nights at the track, he became the conscience of a community where chasing speed can also mean outrunning reflection. But night after night, For generations, Father Dale was there, serving his flock as friend, confidant, and fan.
Now you know why Padre is a treasure in Wisconsin, in the world of motorsports. I mentioned Bobby Allison's relationship and friendship. He'd hold Sunday Mass with Bobby, hold Sunday Mass with Alan Kowicki. He was on the helicopter when Kurt Busch did the double at Indianapolis and the Charlotte Coke 600. They wanted someone spiritual to be with him, and Father Grubba got that opportunity through Tom Roberts and his long association with Bobby Allison and friendships around the world. Father also had a couple of cover photos on Stock Car Magazine as a photographer, working for Dick Berggren back in the day. So a lot of interest there. I'm so glad we got a chance to showcase one of the best, Father Dale Grubba. Hey, while you get a chance, I want to remind you, we're going to end our live look-in. We're going to end our live look-in. The free look-in is going to end now. Go to tracktv.com, subscribe to tracktv.com, and see our friend Matthew Wandering, the number 08 Honda, and the entire field of 2 local divisions. You need to go to tracktv.com now to subscribe. We're going to end our live look-in from Slinger Super Speedway. And at 6 p.m., guess what? You can join us back here on the feed for our pre-race show. Brought to you by Wisconsin Masonic Foundation and Fire Suppression Solutions. It's all part of our El Bandito Yankee Tequila 300 presented by Appalachian Sucker Punch coverage here from Slinger Super Speedway, event number 7 of the Appalachian Sucker Punch ASA Stars National Tour. Welcome back to Slinger Super.